Welcome to Graduate School Personal Statements. In this presentation, we'll provide an overview of what personal statements are and what they are used for, discuss potential topics and structure for your essay, share tips for success, and present additional considerations for this important part of the graduate and professional school application process. Personal statements, also called application essays or statements of purpose, supplement your application to a graduate or professional school program. Generally speaking, personal statements allow you to share information about your background, as well as your motivations for pursuing the degree. The admissions committee may utilize a personal statement to get to know you, assess your writing ability, evaluate whether you are a good addition to their school, and gain insight into your preparation and likelihood for success in the program. Some applications ask specific questions, while others might provide a vague prompt that is left up to your interpretation and what you wish to share with the admissions committee. If you are applying to a health profession school, law school, or other program with a centralized application service, you will likely write one personal statement that goes to all programs. Specific schools will also typically have additional supplemental questions to answer, often tied to their mission or focus. This is where you can tailor your experiences and interests to that particular school. There are other important logistical considerations. Remember to address the specific questions or topics in the prompt if one is provided. Be concise and follow guidelines related to length. If none are given, a good rule of thumb is 1 to 2 pages double space, or about 500 to 800 words. But where do you start? A blank screen can be intimidating. Remember that no one will see this until you are ready, and you will likely and should have multiple drafts. Write according to your own process or strengths. Some people like to create an outline. Others start by free writing. Mind maps or word clouds work well for some. Do what works for you. If you are searching for inspiration, here are some reflection questions to help get you started. Why have you selected this field of study or career path? What motivates you to learn more about this academic field? What have been some of your most defining and relevant experiences? What skills or personal qualities do you possess that will enable you to be successful in this program and/or career? How will this degree help you achieve your professional goals? Personal statements and other application essays should reflect your individual perspective, interests, qualifications, and voice. For example, if you're humorous by nature, feel free to show your personality, but don't force it. The structure and flow of your essay can take on many forms. Some people choose to answer each question in a separate paragraph. Others identify a theme that runs throughout their essay. Some write in chronological order. Narratives and illustrative stories are incredibly valuable. Choose to share stories about you or in which you are at the center of the action. Describe the experience in a way that shows rather than tells the reader details that reveal your motivations. The introduction is your opportunity to hook the reader, but be careful not to overdo it with cliches or overly flowery language that give the impression you are trying too hard. Also be cautious that you aren't shocking the reader and turning them off from wanting to read further. Use body paragraphs to share your relevant experiences and skills. This should not read as a laundry list of all of your accomplishments. Instead, consider choosing 1 or 2 examples to highlight in greater depth. Show how these experiences have impacted you and helped you prepare for future study and work in this area. Again, share stories that show rather than tell the reader about you. The conclusion is often a good place to share your long-term career goals and why this degree will help you achieve them. If applicable, this is a good place to discuss why you have applied to the specific school or program. Put some time and thought into your concluding sentence so it leaves a strong and memorable impression with the reader. Here are some additional considerations. Sometimes it is appropriate to include challenges, obstacles, or hardships that have influenced your educational pursuits. However, be sure to remain positive and focus on what you learned from the experience and avoid making excuses. Sometimes an additional statement of research is requested, especially for PhD programs. The school may ask you to propose a specific topic or question, and even include the names of specific faculty members whose interests align with yours. Here are some more do's and don'ts. Avoid relying on cliches or writing large sections that speak generally about the profession. Dig deeper into your motivation. Do not exaggerate or lie about your experiences and/or qualifications. And avoid simply regurgitating your resume or curriculum vitae or simply listing your accomplishments. Try and focus on one story or main idea. Tips for success include: keep the focus on you. Seek feedback from multiple sources, including but not limited to professors, professionals within your industry, career and professional development staff, and the Writing Center. Proofread, proofread, proofread. Read your statement out loud and/or ask others to review it for any spelling or grammar issues. For more information or one-on-one assistance with graduate and professional school applications, please reach out. Visit our website, connect with us via email or phone, schedule an appointment on Zags Ignite, or stop by and see us on campus. We are located on the main floor of the Crosby Center at Career and Professional Development.